Hi team, karibuni sana. My name is Joelena Namu. As you can see on the Teams, I am a business value specialist at Cloud IT, focusing on revenue generation.
Okay, thank you very much, Jelena. My name is Roger Odipo. I am a cloud solutions developer. I am also a marketer. And yeah, my passion and my role is to build solutions and to help customers to just know exactly what they mean for their business. So welcome to the webinar. And yeah, I look forward to engaging with you some more.
The main purpose of this webinar today is just to get the pulse of your organization, just to get to understand where you're at as an organization, what tools you can leverage on, and also how Cloud IT can help you on that. So I'll quickly go to introducing who Cloud IT is or what Cloud IT does. Cloud IT is basically a technology company right now focusing on communication and collaboration tools with three main organizations, that is Google, Microsoft, and Zoho. We have partnered with them and are licensed to resell those specific solutions, resell, train and support specific teams and even countries or other users in different countries. We're currently in about 5 countries, that is Kenya, Uganda, Zambia, and Nigeria. In those specific countries, we have about 10 years experience and we exist to help teams collaborate better. Our main purpose is to take businesses, apps, and data flow to the cloud. We've seen the kind of transformation we have experienced during these pandemic times when different governments said that we were going to work from home. Many organizations that had in-house systems or on-premise systems had to start from scratch, but it was a big benefit for those who had already moved to the cloud. And many didn't know that they could actually not go to the office and still work from home. So basically, that's a quick intro of Cloud IT. We have a vast number of customers. We, of course, as I had mentioned, we're in about 3 continents. We cover EMEA, that is Europe, Middle East, and Africa, but our current focus right now is in Africa. We want to major here, then we can spread our wings to other continents. We're in about 17 plus countries. Those 4 specific offices that I mentioned are the ones that we have physical offices. We have 130 plus organizations that we are supporting, and we believe that they are happy wherever we are. Our focus is to make sure that our customers get value. In terms of some of the customers that we have and are supporting in different for different solutions, maybe Roger, you can move ahead, move again. Cloud IT, I have mentioned, covers the 3 key areas, or rather the 3 key solutions, that is on Google, Microsoft, and Zoho. On those 3 specific partnerships that we have, there are different solutions under them. For example, under our Google partnership, we have Google Workspace. Google Workspace, first of all, was rebranded to Google Workspace last year. Before, it was known as G Suite. I know most people know it as G Suite, but now it's known as Google Workspace. They just made a few changes on their packages, or rather on their editions. We have business and enterprise editions when it comes to categorization. So we have business starter as I'd not say the lowest, but as the first edition, which goes at about $6 per user per month. That is about $72 per user per year. Then we have Google Workspace Business Standards, which was formerly known as G Suite for Business, or rather G Suite Business, which goes for $144 per user per year. Then we have the Google Workplace Business Plus, which is now at $18 per user per month. It was formerly, they just did a split of business into the 2. And then now we have the enterprise one that goes for about $25, but sometimes it's dependent on the number of users that you have, $25 per user per month. The differences between those 3 editions are majorly the amount of drive space that you get. For example, on the starter, you get 30 GB storage on your drive. On the business standard, you get 2 terabytes. On the business plus, you get 5 terabytes. And then on the enterprise, you get unlimited storage. Apart from the difference in pricing, the storage, we also have a difference in the security features that you have access to. Of course, as we go up the ladder, security features get better and better because you're looking to achieve different security corners. We also have Google Cloud Platforms, that is GCP. This includes hosting and maybe other specific individual solutions that you can buy separately that are not part of Google Workspace. When we move to Microsoft, I know very many people are familiar with Microsoft because I believe we started learning about Microsoft ever since we were doing our computer classes. So on Microsoft, their communication solution, communication and collaboration is Microsoft 365. It also has business, enterprise, and business and enterprise solutions, or rather editions. We will share more of a breakdown of what those entail, but the difference between Google and Microsoft is basically just a few of the key areas. For example, you'll find that on Google, we have Google Sheets, and then on Microsoft, we have Microsoft Excel, but they work similarly, the same, but of course, they're provided by two different providers. On Zoho, I know many people might not have a vast knowledge on Zoho, but Zoho is more of a simpler and cost-friendly communication and collaboration solution. This one, they have specifically one for just email purely, and then there's another one called Zoho Workplace, which is also a communication and collaboration solution. When I say communication and collaboration, it means it does not just come with emails only, but it comes with additional apps that enable your team to work together. For example, you'd have Zoho Drive, you'd have Zoho Sheets, you'd have Zoho Word, basically. All those just the similar ones that you get on Google and Microsoft. Only that for Zoho, it comes with, it's, I'd say, cheaper, for lack of a better word, because you can have your Zoho email for as low as $1 per user per month. That is about $12 per user per month. So for startups that do not really have very many complicated work processes, this would be a good place to start. Still works efficiently, still on cloud, you can access it from anywhere, and your team is able to work from anywhere. So that's basically the many solutions that we have under these three partnerships. Moving forward, if you have any questions, you can quickly type on the chat box, and then we'll answer them at one point on the end. Today, we are discussing hybrid working. We've seen how important flexible working for employees is, where they can actually split their time between working remotely and working at their workplace. I haven't seen the office in about forever, I think. Ever since I was hired at Cloud IT, I've only gone to the office twice. And it was by choice, because I look at beating traffic, going all the way to the office. Those are 2 good hours that are based on the road. I'd rather just use those 2 hours to stick in the house and do something. Nowadays, I'm able to do up to maybe 3, 4, 5 meetings in a day. And in other cases where the meetings were physical, you could only do a maximum of 2 meetings. People who know Nairobi, you cannot have 1 meeting on Mombasa Road and another one on Waiyaki Way, because those 2 highways are just crazy. So hybrid working has become very beneficial for many organizations. And I've seen key organizations focus on productivity more than even the amount of time that employees spend at their workplace or even on their machines, because productivity at the end of the day is what is going to bring out results. So the more you increase flexibility, the more productive your team will be. Moving forward, we can see that work has literally changed for good. There's nothing that we can do right now. I know even our own organization is not thinking about opening up that office again. One, it's riskier, but at the same time, looking at results, over time, you realize that things are still working. The company is still moving. We're still closing deals. We're still getting business. So why would we need to go back to the office? But the main question comes in where we now start talking about security of your data. You know, you've given your employees all the tools that they need. You've given them Google Workspace, Microsoft 365, Zoho. Question is, how are you going to make sure that your data is secure with your employees wherever they are? Because you see, data is very sensitive. Maybe I could be sitting with somebody in the house, but this is a competitor, and I'm sharing all the information that Cloud IT has all the information that Cloud IT has, our strategies, even in terms of our numbers, who we are looking to close next, because you understand in business, there's a lot of competition. We'll try and focus on security, how companies can make sure that after giving access to all these tools that help people, that help their employees communicate and collaborate better, then where do we draw the line to make sure that there are no security breaches, there are no loopholes, and that people are able to still achieve the same productivity without putting the company in danger? I think, Roger, this is where you will pick it up, and then, yeah, we proceed.
Okay, thank you very much, Jelena, for that great introduction. So, as Jelena has touched on, we have seen that work has changed fundamentally, and it's not something that has come and then it is about to go away. It is something that is going to be with us for the foreseeable future. Because what has happened is that organizations have found out that there's a better way to do what we've normally been doing. Most of the work habits that we have been using are habits that go back all the way to the Industrial Revolution in the 1930s, 40s, and it worked for that time. But now what COVID has shown us is that we really need to redefine what we mean when we say we are being productive. We really need to redefine what we look at, and we really need to redefine our methods so that we can get the most out of each working day. So there's a study that was done by Gartner in this year, 2021, and what was found is that 39% of employees are likely to leave companies if they are asked to stay for full time in the office. It's like the taste of flexible work has been very good for employees, and they actually don't want to go back to a full working from the office kind of environment. Yeah. 55% of employees who were interviewed said that their ability to work flexibly will impact whether or not they stay with their current employer. So among the employees who are working remotely or in a hybrid environment where you sometimes work in the office, sometimes you don't, 75%, a whole 75% say that they expect more flexibility while working while working for the organization. And only 4% would prefer actually to go back to the office full time. Most of the other employees will prefer to stay and work flexibly where they choose where to work and when to work. Yeah. And for most companies, if the company has not set clear guidelines to say whether they're coming back to the office or not, the employees are assuming that they are going to come back to work. So the decision, if the more it is deferred, the more it is being made in the minds of the average employee. So from this breakdown, it appears that the expectation of the average employee with regard to the flexibility they get at work has increased dramatically, and it's something that every organization needs to take into account. So that makes you wonder, because we can have the taste of flexibility, and it may be agreeable to most of the team, but what about the bottom line? How does this flexibility affect the bottom line? So this study had some answers to that as well. So it was discovered that 62% of knowledge workers perform better when they are given flexibility in terms of where and when to work, as opposed to 27% of those who are given a little flexibility. What this means is that if you take all the high performance in the organization, and then you check the ones that are flexible, there will be more than the ones who are not flexible. In other words, flexibility is likely to predict more productivity. On the second point, it was discovered that employees are 3 times more likely to be high performers when given flexibility, as opposed to when they are not flexible and when they are restricted in terms of how and when they work. Yeah, 3 times. That's a huge factor. Yeah, among knowledge workers, the people who are the high levels of enterprise contribution are among the people who are fully remote. The people who actually don't come to the office are the ones who tend to give the highest contribution, which which actually is very counterintuitive. Even for myself, when I came across this information, I was rather surprised. Yeah, because you would expect that the office would be the place where people are productive, but it happens that people who are working from away are the ones who are more productive. Yeah. And finally, teams that are hybrid are the ones that show the highest level of inclusion. And by inclusion, we mean that when the people who are working at home or in the office, regardless of where they're working, people feel like they are part of the process, like they're part of the team. Yeah. So hybrid teams give the most of that, and then followed by remote teams, which again is quite counterintuitive. And then finally, the teams that are fully on site are the ones which feel least likely, which feel least inclusive. And I guess it makes sense because when you're working from anywhere, from the office or out of the office, then the organization has to take extra steps to make sure that the work environment is the same for all. So the investment on the work environment becomes higher, and as a result, the team feels more included in the process. So these are some insights that arose from a Gartner study this year, and they brought us some interesting things to think about. So what are some of these things? Now, there are about 6 things that organizations need to focus on, and an organization needs to focus on right now as they are rethinking their process of how to manage the team. So the first one is to design work around people rather than around time. Yeah, because what we find is that people, when left to their own means, what we learn from this productivity data is that when people are left to decide, to be creative about their work, they come up with great ideas that don't quite fit the conventional categories. They tend to think outside the box. They tend to be able to go and find new ways of doing the same thing, things that maybe some other people in the organization may not have thought of before. So apart from that, we find that as a result of this, every organization needs to think about the culture of the organization and how much it is married to the way to the physical interaction. Because what we have learned since 2020 is that an organization is more than just the physical interaction. It goes on even when we are not in the office, even when people are across the world from each other. The organization the best organizations are the ones that transcend these traditional boundaries. Yeah. This means that even from a management perspective, the organization needs to find new ways to appraise employees, new ways to track how the employees are doing, and new ways to just manage the environment. Another one is that organizations there is a need for organizations to really invest in the digital tools that are available to the teams, because what happens is that the team will need to work with the others who may not be in the same environment, and even if they are, will probably most likely have to deal with clients who do not work, all of them, in a physical office or in a physical place. So the team needs to be up to date with all the digital tools that are out there in order to make the most of their engagements within themselves and most of their engagements with other clients. Fifth, there is a trend of shifting talents and skills. Yeah. So the traditional way of doing it is that someone was hired for a particular job and then they did just that job and stayed in that environment. Yeah. But now, because the world is more diverse, every employee has a need to learn things from other teams, from other roles, to do more roles and to familiarize themselves with more and more parts of the organization. And once they do this, not only will they be able to be better at what they do, but they will also be able to contribute more to the work that the others do, because they have the insights into how the others work. And so it brings the organization far more tightly together. And sixth, yeah, we need to rethink the workplace to make the workplace a thing that is transcendental, that does not depend on a place, it does not depend on a network even, but it's something that it's spans the whole world and helps people to work from any place and to be just as productive as they would be if they were in the office. So these are the lessons we have learned since 2020. They're quite a paradigm shift, and they call us back to the table to really rethink how we manage work and how we work. So the question is, now that we have all these insights, what can we do about it as businesses in Africa? How can we adapt to just get the most out of every person, to get the most out of our teams, to have the most fulfillment from our work, and to deliver as productively as possible? Now, in this webinar, we're going to break it down into 4 steps. The first step is to optimize security, because the important thing, wherever you are, if you're working from anywhere in the world, you need to be able to be just as secure or even more secure than you would be if you were restricted to the office, to the enterprise. Because traditional security measures, what we had before is that they were limited to the network of the enterprise where you work, and that was the base. But what we found in a distributed work environment like we have right now, security needs to be distributed as well, so that no matter where you are, you should always be able to access your data securely. After securing the workplace, the next step is to give the staff the best tools that are available on the market. So what that does is that it makes them able to work without hassle, yeah, so that as much time as possible will be spent actually serving your customer, and not just trying to make different apps work, trying to convert data between different apps, trying to find things. We need to cut down on such things, such busy work, and really focus on the work that makes the customer happy and benefits us on the bottom line. The third thing is to manage tasks. How do we keep track of the tasks that are being done? How do we get a view of everything that's going on in the organization? All these things are really important. And then the fourth thing is process automation. What can we do to just make the process go in a streamlined manner, and to get rid of unnecessary mistakes, and just make it even more easy to account for things? So the first thing we're going to discuss is securing the workplace. So what do you do about securing a workplace in 2021? Now, there are a lot of features that have come out from the tech community to really make sure that security is top notch. And as Juliana mentioned earlier as she was talking earlier, some of the clients, some of the partners that we have are Microsoft and Google and Zoho. If you think about these names, you see that they are the best in the industry, the literal best in the industry for security. And that is not by mistake or by coincidence. It is because they actually really have to do that, because they manage the data of thousands of people across the world, the terabytes and exabytes of data. It needs to always be protected, because there's always someone trying to attack. So these are some of the things that have made them to come up with the best security features available, and those security features are the ones that they supply to the market. So I'm going to talk about some of the things that you get from a cloud-based workplace. One is that you can enable two-factor authentication, because if someone has a password, it's not as secure as it used to be. Now they may need to also prove that they're the ones who are holding the phone, either by a fingerprint or a pattern or anything, or a one-time PIN, such things. So you will need to enforce the two-factor authentication to protect your data. You will need to check on the password strength. You will need to check on what devices the people are using, and if the device is old or the device is compromised, then you can control that. Yeah, you will need to be able to sign in and sign out a user remotely if the device is compromised. You will need to be able to delete confidential data from a device if the device itself has been compromised. Yeah, but that is just one phase of security. Apart from that, you will also need to be able to track what people do yeah, especially the administrators of your work environment, because you don't want a situation where you have an administrator who can do things in your work environment and then there's no log of what he has done, yeah, just because they have admin rights. No. So in a cloud-based environment, you will get a log of everything that has ever been done in the environment, so that even the administrators, they cannot just do things in the environment just like the way they a normal user would have done, but they can be tracked and they can be held to made to explain why they did what they did, just in the interest of security. Yeah, so then you can track attempts to share sensitive data, you can track activity per application, and you can track the list of devices used in the organization. And then you will also want alerts. So for example, if there's a suspicious sign-in attempt, when your own security rules have been compromised, and when a device has been compromised, then you need to know that that's going on. So that is a long list of things that you need to keep track of just to keep your organization secure. But guess what? In a modern cloud environment, you will have all those controls in one interface. If you look at my screen right now, you can see all of these things. You can over here, you can configure the security alerts. Over here, you can create custom rules. Over here, you can manage the devices in the organization. You can literally control everything that your organization needs security-wise from one interface. And I'll just show you a snippet of these are some alerts that you may receive. You can see there's if a message is suspected of being spam and it's marked by many users, you can get an alert. If there's a sudden spike in spam deliveries, you can get an alert. If there's a phishing attempt, you get an alert. And this is like state-of-the-art technology to fish out this kind of security threats. So you can, and then for this on this screen, you can see some of the rules that you can set so that when they are broken, you are notified. For example, if a user reports a phishing attempt, then you can report it and it can be reported automatically to the administrator. If a user is deleted and if a user is suspended, if any of these things happen, you can set an alert and the administrator will be notified. Now, there are over 500 of these alerts that have been created by Google based on their work environment just to make your work easy. And they even activate some of them for you so that you do not even have to worry. So, and this is the same for Microsoft and this is the same for Zoho. So what happens is that you get out of the box, you get a very secure and very customizable environment within which to work and which will really help for you to just focus on the work itself rather than continuously being worried about whether your data is being compromised or not. So apart from that, you can also set custom security rules for the whole organization or for certain groups, just to you have that kind of control, and that will just help you to do it much better. Yeah. So apart from now we're done with security. Now, after you have secured your organization, you need to provide the best tools that are available to work with in one place. So on this point, I would like to show you what that means for, I hope you can see my screen. So for example, if you come to Microsoft Office, yeah, you will see that you have all the Microsoft Word, Excel, OneNote, PowerPoint. All of these apps are in just this one interface. Yeah, so you can really get work done in a very easy way by just keeping everything that you need in one interface, in one place and in one interface. And it's the same for Google and for Zoho. So what you get at the end of the day is that you don't even have to switch tabs as much. You can do your email, you can do your chat, you can do your documents, everything that you need to do, presentations, the works, you can do all of them in one place. And even more importantly, you can control all of them in one place, ensuring that even the security is intact. Yeah. So another thing that you can show you is about managing tasks and projects. So on this one, I would like to explain a little bit, because what happens is that we get a challenge right now when we're moving away from the traditional way of working, because before, like we said, productivity was measured in terms of time. How much time did you spend at the workplace? Or did you come late? Did you clock in at this time? Did you clock out at this time? But Juliana, I would kindly request you to mute the person whose mic is. Thank you. So traditionally the work was based on time. How much time you spend in the office, how much time you spend outside the office. But what we find now is that it's not a very efficient way, because it's not a way to measure productivity. It's just a way to measure effort, so to speak. Yeah, at best it measures effort. But if you want to measure productivity, the best way for the employee as well as for the employer is to measure the tasks. So how you do that is that you say that this task, you give them a list of tasks to complete, and then once they are completed, they are marked, and then marked complete. And then now the employee is able to know how far they are in terms of the tasks. And the management is able to even keep track on a macro scale on how the organization is doing with regard to different projects and different things. So this is incredible. It's important for every organization. Most organizations do it, but only to some extent. No, very few organizations actually operate day to day on an entirely task-based approach. But it is very efficient for the team. It is very efficient for the users. So I'm just going to show you how good it can be. So for this it is Google Workspace. So in Google Workspace, you have things called a space. So a space is it's sort of a group. You can make it so that a space is a department, or it is a project. Just anything that requires people to work together, that is a space. So right now I have a marketing space over here. So what if I want to create a task? For example, let's say I would like to create a task for the team because I would like someone to design a website homepage. So what I can do is I can come here and say design. Once I do that, I can, let me say design their website homepage so that they know what we are talking about. And then I can assign it to somebody. Say I will assign it to myself so that I can also see it in the same screen. So once I do that, I click add. So in this marketing, we will have chat, we will have files, and then we will also have tasks. And the tasks, I can see everybody's tasks over here. So on the right, I also have my own personal tasks in this panel. So once I have created a task, I will also be able to see it over here saying that I need to design the website homepage. So I can work on it, do the design, and then once I do that, I can click done. And now you can check in the main group over here. It is also marked as done. It's marked as complete. It comes down here, and then you can see that this is one of the completed tasks. So what does this do for your organization? It means that at every moment, the team can know exactly what is going on with any project. It means that everybody will be able to see what they need to work on at a glance. It's across projects, across teams, whatever they're working on, they can see the list and they can work on it. So it gives you far better visibility than a time-based approach ever would. And as you have just seen, it is very easy to implement. Now that is the case for Microsoft. It is the case for Zoho. Because of the time constraint, I just had to center it on this particular on Google, but then it's pretty much the same for all organizations, for all of them. So lastly, I would like to talk about optimizing your team's workflow. Now, this is one that I actually find very interesting. So what it means is that if you have great tools, you have Microsoft Word Online, you have Teams, you have all these Google Docs, you have Zoho Workplace, you have all these tools and you can work great. But then your organization, you'll find that your organization has some workflows. Let's say you are an engineering company. You'll have someone who does the designs, then they submit it to the supervisor who checks them, who submits them to the chief engineer, who then submits them to the manufacturing engineer, who will go on to build the item, and then who will go on to release it. So it's a process. So how can you reflect such processes? Because if you could do that, then it's not just a bunch of tools. It's actually, it fits into your current workflow, and it actually helps you to work more effectively. So now I'm going to give you a demonstration of how that can work using something called Microsoft Power Automate. Now, if I come here to my flows, it's actually called a flow because it is a flow of how your work is going. So if I come here to my flows, I can check on one of them. Let's check on this. Oh, oops, let me go back. I think I picked the wrong one. Yes, I will check on this financial requisitions flow. So when I come here to check on it, let me edit it so that we can see it together. So what it does is that at first it will respond to a form. So for this whole flow, the purpose of it is to respond when someone requests for some money by filling in a form. So they will come to the form. This form is also created in Microsoft. So they'll just fill in their name, their department, the amount they need, the currency, and the purpose for the requisition. So once they fill the form, you can see how it flows. Then you get the details from the form, and then you wait for an approval, and you start an approval process. So this approval process will have an approval type. It's an approval or reject kind of process. And then the title is a finance requisition by somebody's name. Let's say that's for the amount, maybe what, maybe 1,000 bob and such. And then it will be assigned to someone to approve with a little message saying what they need, and then and that's it. So once that is done, then it will come approved. Then they'll get an email. They'll get an email that says that it was approved. If they don't, then they'll get an email that says that it was not approved. So this is just a you would notice that there is no programming involved in this solution. It is just a flow of what you do day to day. But now I would like to show you how it is in practice. So if I come here and I say my name is Roger, I select any department. Let's say I'm in sales, and then I would like to request $1,000 US dollars because I need airtime, and then I submit this. Yeah, so that will be submitted. So now, once it is submitted, if I come down, we'll just wait for a second for it to be processed, and it has been processed apparently. So once it is processed, I will come here to my teams in my activity, and then I can see that I have been sent a request. Just give it a little while to load. Yeah, but you will see that you have been given a request for an approval, and this is it. It says a finance requisition by Roger for $1,000 US dollars. The purpose of the fund is airtime. So of course, $1,000 US dollars is very reasonable for airtime. So I will just go ahead and approve it. So once I approve it, then I will get an email that says that the amount was approved or that the amount was rejected. So I don't have my mail open right now, but if I were to open my email, you would be able to see the way the email that has come in. So I realize we're pressed for time, so I will not go ahead and sign in and all that, but you can see the idea. So what does this mean? This means that for your organization, you can literally have the whole process streamlined such that it is very easy to get approvals, to move from one step to the other. It is all within your work environment, which it is crucial for any organization that wants to get their work done in a fluid way. This way, it would be very easy for you to get to even audit whether the process was completed, what stage of approval it reached, all these things. And you can use the same process to handle leave applications, to handle processing of orders. The possibilities are endless within this environment. So this is just the example that is in Microsoft. Again, these solutions are available across all providers. You can see this, for example, this is an example in Google AppSheet, which is actually a very interesting platform in itself. But you see, you get an email that has your approval, then you can approve it, and then it can continue. So it really helps with getting your work done in a very fluid and easy way. So as we continue to, as we wrap up, we can just mention that this is not all you can get from your workspace in terms of visibility. If you want to really understand what's going on, of course, the best way is to manage tasks and projects, because it gives the flexibility that we have seen in the other previously to be very crucial for the organizations to have productivity. But if you would like, you could also get statistics on how individual apps are used, statistics on which files have been shared outside or within the organization, or not even shared at all. You can see numbers of emails sent and received. You can see the user activity in chat and meeting apps. You can see devices that are logged in, as we saw earlier. We can see the number of third-party apps that are used by users. And you can also even block off third-party apps just to make the system more secure. You can do all this in your cloud workflow, in your cloud space. But of course, as you have mentioned, you really need to keep an eye out for the flexibility and the autonomy that you give the employees, because it appears to be very rewarding from the data. So to recap, for any organization to thrive in the new workplace, what we need to do, first of all, is to ensure that there is security. That means that there is no data loss, incidents, or very few, because all the work is in the same environment. The work is saved in the cloud. You will not be losing flash disks or losing computers. It will all be in one place and very securely accessed. Number two is the organization needs to provide the best tools that are available to work with. So these are the tools that are being produced by Google and Microsoft and Zoho and such, that just make them so intuitive that they make work not even less stressful, but actually fun, so that it's interesting to work. Next, the organization needs to be able to track tasks, to be able to assign tasks and to track how they're done. And this is a great way to have the visibility you need, as we saw in the little demonstration, to have all the visibility you need about how work is going, while at the same time giving the team enough room to actually be creative and just get that job done in a very beautiful way. And then for the last thing is that where it is possible, if you can identify the workflow that your team follows and just replicate that in your work environment, then you can actually make sure that even the mistakes are very few, that the process is easily tracked, and that it is just a fluid environment. It is organized, and it's even a great space to work in. So with that, I'd just like to say thank you very much, and I'll hand it over to Joelena to continue from here.
Thank you, Roger. That was such an amazing presentation with so much detail. I know sometimes we cannot get everything under one session, but again, a human's concentration period is about 45 minutes. I know some people already logged off. That was a lot to incorporate, or rather to just take in. What we'll do, we'll share this webinar recording as soon as we have it converted to something that you can make use of. Then you can go through it during your free time. Two highlights that I'd want to bring out, or rather to say about cloud solutions. They are available, but the most important thing is utilization. I'd say 90% of our customers who have come on board at Cloud IT, all they have been looking for is support and training, because you can have 100+ licenses. Maybe you're just using 40 and you're paying for 100. That's a lot of money. Even people in finance would be wondering, we have very huge budgets for our communication and collaboration tool, but we don't see the people who are using it. Our responsibility at Cloud IT is to make sure that you're utilizing what you're paying for. Our training is robust. Our support, I'd say, is incredible. I'd like to shout out Dedan and my team that are here. just to make sure that you achieve what you're looking to achieve. For example, Google, Microsoft, and Zoho they have such a vast number of companies that are under them. That's why they have continually partnered with local technology companies. We have been trained, we have been constantly updated on any developments that they have to make sure that the teams are able to.
Thank you very much, everybody, for making the time. Yeah, I hope to engage with you some more afterwards. Feel free to leave and have an amazing day.